Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Noobs Pros. I'm AJ, and today we'll be looking at a game that I played yesterday in my T54. There's not much that needs to be said about the T54. It's an amazing tank, very good tank at tier 9, though they have sort of like nerfed it a bit. The top hatch or the where the commander's cupolas are much more easily penetrable now than they were used to be. But we will not be talking about the T54 in particular today. What we will be doing is analyzing our mistakes. Any game that you play, in order to get better, you need to understand what your mistakes are. In hindsight, some mistakes are more obvious than when you're playing them to begin with. Now on this map, Tundra, mediums generally go towards the hill, and the reason for that is from the hill you can control all this area in the middle. So I generally go in the middle first, trying to figure out if there's anybody else who's interested in coming to the hill. I didn't think anybody was coming, so or else they would be here by now. So I just casually make my way up the hill. At first I should have realized at this moment that I had very little backup. An IS-3 and a T-32 were the only things I have. Now, at this moment I haven't actually realized that the T-54 and T-34 are behind me. So one of the first things I'm missing here are map awareness. I'm so locked into this IS-3, which I should not have been, because I would not have been able to take a safe shot on him anyways. Now over here I come and I look at the T-54. I know he's not looking at me, but I rush my shot and I just track him. And over here what I'm actually afraid of doing is, so over here, if you go to free cam, what I'm afraid of doing is hugging that, I should have hugged that rock over there instead of backing up. And the reason for that is, if I go into that corner right there, right here, or right there, I will be in more or less a hull down spot, and then the T-34 will have a difficult time pinning me. But what I do is I reverse on my side and give the T-34 my entire side to shoot at, which he can easily pin. And so now that he has fired, instead of waiting for the shot to actually zoom in, I take a hasty shot, and this will come to bite me in my behind as well. Again, I risk a shot at the T-34 knowing he's staring at me. At this point I've taken 87 damage roughly that I should not have been taken. Now this entire game, what I'm afraid of is this T-30. This T-30 I thought would be here, and if he was here, if you have a look, these two avenues, if I go hug this rock, this would have been an avenue where he could have shot me from. And for a couple of minutes, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that T3 might still be there at some point. He might actually show up. And that's the entirety of the game that happens. But unfortunately or fortunately for me, taking shots as this IS, I know the IS-3 is trying to fire at me. I take one more shot at the IS. IS is locked into the tank in front of him. I fire 2 shots and move to this corner. Over here what I made a mistake is I've over angled, and he fires a shot right into the side underneath my tracks and damages me. If I had just been if my hull had been facing him, he would have had a very hard time trying to pin me, and which I do with this KV-3 for a moment. I know this IS is trying to get me. I go to a hull down position and I fire. He takes more damage, he backs off. All that is left is that IS-3 who has my turret to fire at and nothing else. I know he has fired, so I can put another shot into him. So at this point the IS decides that he wants to take me out. I put one shot into him and I back off. Now over here the IS-3 makes a good shot, but what I had done, unfortunately, was I was coming in the same area over and over again, and this gave him a very easy shot at my Commander's Cupola here, which he makes, and I'm reduced to 70 health. So in this game, I unnecessarily took about 1400, no, 15, about 1500 damage, which I could have avoided if I had played smarter. And and when you're playing like a game like this, like your adrenaline is pumping, you do not know whether somebody's gonna come or not, and so you're not playing as well as you should. Over here I load my first gold round because I did not want to miss or like not pen the IS-3 and kill him. So I just load up gold round and make sure I go through his plate, and he dies, and I have to go back and reset the cap now, and because I'm in the best spot. The IS-3 knows I'm there. I think that's why he was trying to wiggle, but then I put a shot and back off. I don't have 6th in this tank. My crew in this tank has moved up to the T-62A, so I'm trying to grind the crew in this tank again. Now the IS-3 starts moving away from the cap, and I take a speculative shot, and all of a sudden my map of weirdness for the first time comes into play. I see the KV-3 behind me. I fire and I back off because I don't want to take a shot. The KV-3 fires and misses. I put one shot in his lower plate. I know the second shot might be very over here again I got very lucky. As I was backing off, I gave him the side of my the side right there, and he unfortunately couldn't pen it. What I should have done was angled and backed away, like angled in his direction and backed away, so he shouldn't be able to like pen me easily. One other thing that the KV-3 didn't do, which I would have done, is like just load an HE round. I don't have that much health. An HE round would have just killed me at this spot. Instead, the KV-3 pays for it during this time, and I got lucky that RD did not decide to fire in my direction, and I basically stay alive with what little health I have. Now I'm going after the RD first because even though I know like the tanks that are still alive, one thing that can instantaneously kill me is the RD, and I don't want them to have that. Don't want to give them the chance to do so, because they can splash near me and they can kill me, and it would be very hard to sort of like play the game at this point. So what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna go and sit in this bush over here. Make sure that the MX-1590 is not like in front of me somewhere. I sit for a couple of minutes, and I don't find it. The RD nails the IS-3, which was low health. One of the people in chat at this moment says 07 Forge, salutes Forge, so I kind of like stop and turn the compliment. Now I know the RD might be here somewhere, but I'm not so sure. I see a tracer fly, and I'm like, oh, I think they're here. I think it was the GW who fired, or maybe it was the M40. I don't know, but I know I have time to work both of them, so I could take out the M40. And at this moment I'm kind of like locked into GW, and all of a sudden I realize there's an MX behind me. I turn my tracks. Now here, here's a mistake I make again. I am sideways to this MX-1390. He can easily pen me if the shot goes lower and just underneath the turret. It can easily like pen me. I get very lucky here. I fire and take out the MX-1590. I didn't think I would have had the chance to sort of like shoot another. Over here I work the GW. I'm not really concerned. I think he just fired, so he had a long reload. At this point I'm at my Bradley Walters. I'm not as scared of the lone IS-6 now as much. The T-30 got taken out as well by the GW Panther, who made a heroic stand. Again, another mistake I make at this moment is I know the IS-6 is in the cap circle somewhere. Now instead of like going, here, let me just pause. Instead of going like here onto the bridge and like trying to spot across, you know, what I decide to do is I'm gonna go all the way here and up the hill and see if I can get a light on him. Now the problem with that is there's a rock right in the middle of the cap circle. If he's on the other side, I wouldn't be able to do anything, and I would have wasted a lot of time doing it. Now I'm kind of like thinking at this moment whether I should still go or not. My reasoning at this point was, let's say if I go, you know, and I don't spot him, for example, you know, I could always back off, you know, go back into our side of the cap and, you know, take him out. So at this point I'm not really I'm just thinking that I would be able to spot him, but now I know that he's far beyond where I would have clear shots on him. So I'm starting to I know he's going towards RD because RD just shot him for 500 damage, so he's probably going to take out the RD first. I mean, shoutouts to the RD, they actually took out some of the most dangerous tanks towards the end. I think they carelessly rushed into the RD thinking there would be easy kills, but it didn't turn out so well for them. So RD puts another shot in the IS-6. You know, I know IS-6 is probably gonna be starting to turn around. You know, trying to figure out where I would be. I load another premium shell because I don't want to chance this. I don't have the health to. And you know, I come around and put my last shot in the IS-6 and call it a day. I mean, the thing, you know, that I always stress is like, even if you have good games, you should always think of the ways you could have done things better. You know, this was a very good game, but there's mistakes I made. It would have been a lot easier if I had more health towards the end. The AMX 1390 shot I would not have had rushed. I mean, RNG just gave that shot to me, or I would have died in the process. So hopefully this sort of like, you know, shows you the thought process that I go through when I'm analyzing my own games. You know, truth be told, not every game I play is perfect, and so I always think of playing games better, and hopefully, you know, this sort of like showed you what you should be looking for, you know, in your own games. So you know, I don't know whether you like this episode. You know, I try to you know, be more critical of games. I try to be more critical of the games I do, and hopefully through that teach other people how to play certain tanks better or play the game better overall. If you do, you know, feel free to let me know, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Noobs to Pros.